Okay. Good morning, everyone. We're up and running hot here now, so before I call a meeting to order, we'll address a birthday in the room. So our CAO is 29 and holding.
Exactly.
But-
Still holding, barely. Thank you. You don't look 60. Hopefully not.
Yeah, happy birthday to you from us.
Thank you.
Okay, I will call the meeting to order. The agenda, any additions or deletions? Not seeing any. Alpha move the agenda. Vote. Carried. Minutes from last meeting. Everybody read them over? Darcy's moving them. Vote. Carried. 6.1, Darlene.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2021-16 Master Rates Bylaw. Recommendation that council provides first, second, and third readings of Bylaw 2021-16 Master Rates as presented. Alternative as amended. And so the Master Rates Bylaw was last revised in February 2021. It has been updated to include additional wording, restructuring throughout the development section, and to include various revisions as recommended by the Agricultural Service Board at the April 27th, 2021 meeting. Cypress County has focused on establishing a cost recovery approach for many of the services that are offered to residents and ratepayers. Okay, and on page 24 is the recommendation from the Agricultural Service Board. And on 25 is the resolution. On 26 is the bylaw. And then the schedule is on 27 and to follow.
Okay. Thank you, Darlene. Somebody want to make a motion so we can discuss? Yep. Michelle, you have the floor.
Okay, I'm actually okay with most of the rates, but I do have kind of an issue with the per kilometer rate. As far as I know, 60 cents a kilometer is, maybe for a half ton, and I don't think they use half tons to pull out most of those equipment. So I personally, I think that we should have it the same as all the other rental companies around, so it's fair. And I'm pretty sure they charge $3 a loaded kilometer. So I'm just wondering what everybody else thinks about that, because I think 60 cents is way too low for that.
Okay, anybody else? Richard?
Question would be do they send two people when they do the delivery or one? Just one? Okay. So if you went 10 kilometers, you'd get $6. Is my math right?
Yep.
So that doesn't pay to do more than start the truck.
Yeah, I think that's why the other rental companies do the $3 a mile or $3 a kilometer, sorry. But it's loaded. So I think we said when we got into this, we weren't trying to be in competition with the other guys out there. We're just doing it as a service for our ratepayers because they couldn't find this. So we should be at least at the same amount as what those guys are at. So we're not gouging anybody. Ernest?
Which page are we on here? Because I'm looking at ones in
24.
24. Yeah.
That box at the top there.
Mr. Chairman, so the schedule where it talks about the Agricultural Service Board is page 33.
What was it? Okay.
It's listed a couple times, but on the schedule. So about, well, halfway down the page, transport fee.
Okay. In the green there. Shane?
No, I don't have no issue with going with the $3 a loaded kilometer. It's the same as the other ones and that. Just so everybody knows, there was reference to the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Rate Guidebook. And that guidebook is for extra work because we don't charge out that. If you look in there what a triaxle end dump is worth, I mean, everybody would be getting back, and even Richard would be going back and buying some more trucks and that. It's a different rate. I mean, in that, so you can't really go by that. But if we're the same as the other rental companies around Medicine Hat, I have no problem with that.
Michelle?
And I think the value add, which is what we're trying to do as the Ag Service Board, give, value added to our ratepayers. That comes in the daily rates and stuff, because they are a little bit less than what the rental companies are. But the kilometer thing, I think should be the same. That's a $3.
Richard?
Through the chair, I would imagine that the cost of that employee is probably 40, 50 bucks an hour, maybe 40 wages alone without the use of the vehicle. So that $3 running mile is definitely not out of whack.
Okay, so you have a motion on the floor. You want to do it as amended at the $3 a loaded kilometer. Darcy?
So if you're more than 100 kilometers away, you're going to pay more to get it there than the minimum rate is to use it.
Mhm.
This is $250 minimum charge, right?
Yeah. Okay, Shane?
You got to remember the equipment we got are specialty equipment that the other rental companies don't have. That minimum rate is for the machine, not for the trucking. So I mean, if a guy wants to seed drill and he is 100 kilometers away, but he's only going to do 10 acres. So then he'll end up paying the minimum charge plus the delivery. So it's going to be expensive, but it is a no-till and it serves its purpose. So it would be no different than, I guess, from Flamin and the other rental companies around.
You good, Darcy? You have any more? Anybody else? Okay, so we have Ernest.
Just a question, a clarification for me. We're going to have both types of rollers that we're renting. We're keeping the old one. And because there's two rollers in here, the 94 and 2001. Because I wasn't sure where we had left it when we were discussing whether we were going to have both or just have the new one with the blade.
Shane?
No, we still have both rollers. The old one is paid for and doesn't cost nothing. So we can just leave it in the fleet. And the new one is out and available now and does work well because I did try it out. But no, both rollers will still be up for rental.
In my understanding, it's in good shape.
I have no problem with it. I just wanted clarification and that I was reading this right. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor for Michelle to move as amended with the $3 a kilometer, loaded kilometer. Any more questions? Vote. Carried. 7.1, Terlin.
We'll have to do the three readings.
Oh, yeah, that's 3 on that one.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Ernest is moving second. Vote. Carried. Need somebody to move to have third. Shane's moving to have third. Vote. Carried. And Darcy's moving third. Vote. Carried. Okay. Next, 7.1, Tarlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you is the accounts payable for April 2021. The recommendation is the council receive the April 2021 accounts payable listing as information.
Hey. Richard,
I'll make that motion.
any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have 28 questions. I'm just kidding.
Yes, yeah, that I am.
That's why she brought everybody here. She was waiting for all your questions. No questions. Vote. Carried. 8, Tarlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you is the CIO's report. Is there any questions?
Nobody's jumping up. Okay, there's who's making the motion. The first one to ask the question.
Okay, I'm making the motion. Actually, I just read it. Never mind. I'll still make the motion.
Everything looked good. Nobody has any questions? Ernest?
Are we making headway with the parks on, we had meetings, are we still moving along on this fire thing?
Yes, we are moving ahead. Slow and steady hopefully wins the race. We're meeting with them again on Thursday, so we're meeting them every 2 weeks. We have Alberta Emergency Management is part of our discussions now. They're the subject matter experts. And so hopefully we'll start to have some closure on Thursday, but we'll see what happens.
Well, that's good. That's good. Did we have any, like we had talked about, the road by the golf course you were going to talk to? Like we had Range Road 33?
Right down by, yeah, the one that goes by the golf course. I will mention again to Mr. Swain.
Yeah, so just to kind of keep that
Yep.
on the table.
Yep.
Hey, any other questions? Not seeing any. Motion on the floor to receive for information. Vote. Carried. Number 9, Reeve and Counselor reports. Mine's there. We'll start with Elf. Oh, Elf is in there too. Sorry.
Yeah, I got my report out to Leslie Ann to put in our agenda package, and also I got an addition, had a CWA meeting, and yeah, we're working towards getting some monies from the federal government, because the feds have, with their carbon initiative program and whatnot, they plan on planting like 50 billion trees throughout Canada in the next year. So anyway, we've applied for some grant monies and seeing if we can get in on the, get in on some of this. And also they've got a program going of adopt a pond, or adopt, pieces or sections of creeks around town and whatnot, for cleanup and identifying invasive species and that, different kinds of, vegetation that's growing along the creek sides and whatnot. So yeah, that's it.
Richard?
Haven't attended any meetings, but I've been going back and forth on emails with on Dunmore Park, working with you. We're working with Dan on that. LMT Enterprises has donated some equipment for when we're going to go in there and take out the existing playground rocks so that new stuff can be put in. Arts Excavating is donating the use of a loader to help, and I got Elf to volunteer to run it, so that's going to help out. And Arch Excavating has also donated the fencing so that we can make it safe. Once we start removing stuff in there, we don't want anybody accessing it because the kids will still want to try and play. So that's for next month, somewhere around the 18th. And they're pretty excited about getting a new playground there. So, and that's about it.
Thank you. Ernest?
Attended the planning, 2 days of the planning thing, and probably the biggest, there was a couple things were interesting. Probably the last day when they said in planning that there is absolutely no money in building housing for a municipality. You need commercial property.
Michelle?
I actually have a question about yours first. What is that contracted ambulances services thing?
So we don't have that in our area. That's like Terralyn used it in Paine Earth, and all the other counties over south of us here have it. But it's quite a disaster right now, actually. Did you want to elaborate on it, Terralyn?
So back in 2009, the province took over ambulance from municipalities. Before that, it was municipalities looked after it. So there was about 6 or 7 that continued to contract to the province. And a lot of them are in remote areas. And now there is, they want to take the funding away from them. And it's unfortunate because a lot of times they won't put buses in communities, and they won't have the level of service that the contracted ones are providing right now. So it's very worrisome for remote rural Alberta, because there's not, remember, it used to be like the golden hour when you,
Yeah.
and that does not apply anymore.
So, and some of the issues they're having is they say Raymond has their bus go out. Well, it'll go into circulation and it won't come back for quite a while, and they've sitting there with nobody if something else happens in that time. So it's a real cluster, I guess, is the easiest way to say it. And nobody was happy in that meeting discussing it. There was quite a few issues going on.
So ambulances are not commonly used for emergencies. They're used for interfacility transfers. And then when I'm very familiar with the Paine Earth one, East Central Ambulance. So when it goes to Red Deer, that's where you go. It's there for the day. And then your people are miled out for the day, and then you don't have anybody because it's a 24/7 BLS service, and because they don't have, the province won't fund an ALS in remote Alberta.
Okay, thank you. And I didn't submit mine this month because Les wanted it before I had actually had any of my meetings, so. Not much. We had an emergency FCSS AA meeting because we were having some issues with our executive director, which are all solved now and good. Had a policy meeting with Cypress View, and then our regularly scheduled FCSS AA meeting, which really there was nothing new in there other than they actually got it through the government that if in a pandemic, they can issue food and stuff. They made that easier. That's about the only update I have on that. Yeah.
Darcy?
Just the MPC meeting. Did our wind turbines at meetings. Looks like that one park's a go for now. That's about it.
Shane?
Just had, since the last meeting, the Red Cliff Rec Board meeting, and the skateboard park in Red Cliff is coming along, and that, and then something that was brought to my attention today from an angry ratepayer is the old Trans-Canada Highway. The old Trans-Canada Highway has become another big mud bog. The last rain, there was numerous vehicles out there mud bogging. It is a complete disaster. You can hardly drive down it with a pickup truck. And I know it was supposed to be repaired, and I hope it gets repaired pretty soon. Also, the part of the old Trans-Canada Highway, I watched a vehicle that was in front of me on that oil stretch in front of them businesses, where we talked about maybe lowering the speed limit. I watched him just about go sideways, just really getting washboarding, and that road is becoming a hazard. And I really think we should put up some signs before somebody does ditch it, their vehicle on it. So, there are 2 other things. Okay, that's it.
Road?
Yeah, the MPC with RC and with Dan, it was a little bit, I kind of felt bad for Kayleen and staff because they put so much work into a presentation, and then it was pretty much rubber stamping everything because either the AER or environment or whatever seems to supersede most of what the county can do. But no, it was a busy day with those, but our staff did a good job pulling everything together and having all their ducks in a row. It made it a lot simpler. So that was pretty much it.
Hey, somebody want to move the reports? Alf? Vote? Carried. 10.1, Tarlin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Business case proposal for the greater pull behind Packers, page 73. Before you is information in regards to the Packers that would be pulled behind the grader. The recommendation is council move to add 2 roller Packers with a combined budget of $75,000 to be utilized in conjunction with road grader and the funds to purchase to come from the tax stabilization reserve. The alternate recommendation, Mr. Chairman, is council move no action.
Thank you. Shane?
I'll move recommendation number 1.
Okay. You have the
And
floor.
Kim, I think this is a great idea. I've seen them before. I've seen them being used in different counties through the years, and no, they work and they do save, and I think it's a good move. Good work, staff.
Ernest?
I just want to say it's a great idea. I've been saying it for 7 years, and I'm glad I'm finally right.
Wouldn't say you're right. We're just maybe ordering them. That's anybody else? Not seeing any? Vote. Carried. 10.2, Tarlin.
Before you is background information in regards to the legislation for the recommendation is there with all of the individuals to be named to be appointed for the Ag Service Corps, for the Ag Pest Act and for the Weed Control Act.
Thank you. Ernest is moving them. Any questions? Vote. Carries. 10.3, Tarlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. 10.3 Township Road 122 speed limit and road ban. Before you is information in regards to concerns with Township 122. There's the background information, and if council wishes to amend the bylaw for speed and for road bans, the 2 bylaws are here for your consideration.
Thank you. Richard?
To get the discussion going, I'll make the motion to direct administration accordingly, because I do have some questions. First one being, so it doesn't work to ask for a road ban only for, in this case, vehicles over 2 axles? That creates hardships, does it? Or because it's not the half tons and cars that is causing us the grief, it's the big trucks. And they're the ones that are dusting out the residents along the road. You know, I look at, I think it's Randy Schmidt and his wife, you know, they did the right thing. They built on the corner so that they weren't interrupting the rest of the pivot and stuff. And now that we have a commercial operation going up and down that road, I really feel sorry for those people. Plus, Neubauer's is on the other side, on the north side. I was looking for a reduction on the speed limit for the larger trucks. And originally I'd talked about 40 kilometers an hour. And then the other day I wanted to see what was happening on the 120 and I drove on there and it was 50. My goodness, that's a long trip. So I would be open to suggestions or like go down to 50 kilometers an hour for anything over 2 axles and no road band. Originally, we talked about a road ban, or somebody had thrown that in there because when they turn off on this, Kim, is it 71? I'm having a senior's moment. Yeah, 71. There's an oiled section, and those oh, it's not a silage truck, but it's the waste truck had really pounded out that road. But the plan is from Public Works to rebuild that, remove that oil, and use M30 to build a better road. So I don't want to see a road ban. I just think it penalizes too many people, okay? But if we could slow the people down until maybe someday Alberta Environment comes up with an answer for us, that's what I'm looking for.
Robin?
Richard, just a question on that. I think you're trying to get the dust is one of the main issues that's there, right? So why don't we approach the business owner with the option of actually using the MG30 on that stretch at his expense? It's going to be a lot cheaper. It would keep dust down. And if they're insisting on utilizing that arterial for that disposal, you know, it's the cheaper of all dust mitigating options that I can think of. And if it works well and tightens things up, it might help us to solve that, gives him an option, and it also doesn't penalize everybody else that's out there. Just a thought anyways.
Well, it's 6 miles, hey? So it's 5 miles down west on the 122, and then it's almost another mile to the site where they are taking that product. So that's not cheap though, right? We're talking 60.
Did that change from like when they did their original kind of explanation of where they were hauling? I thought it was like a mile and a half or a mile down and then over.
That's what it changed to, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
like
what they said and what they did is two different things.
No, that's fair. But what I'm saying though is that, you know, similar to the whole, you know, hauling something further and the cost that you pay at a certain point, you look at it and go, well, it's not going to make business sense to do it this way. If we're talking to them and saying, well, if you insist on doing this, MG30 is the cheapest way to keep the dust mitigation under control. If they look at it and go, well, that's way too expensive. Heck, we can haul to a waste disposal site for cheaper than that. That might be the next best thing. Like if they're moving it from a mile to 6 miles from their facility, they're changing, having, you know, they're driving by not just 2 or 3 houses. Now maybe it's 15 or 20. It's just making the issue bigger and bigger and bigger. So to me, that's kind of an alternative that they have to, okay, if you want to do it this way, this is what we're going to ask you to do. And if not, find another way. I'm just trying to find a compromise that works with what you're suggesting or looking for. And
I understand, but there's no enforcement that we can do. Our only enforcement is because it's an Alberta environment situation as to where they're dumping, and unless they do something, I mean, they're dumping on their own land. So my understanding is so far it's okay. I know Terlyn and Dan are looking into it, but the only way that we can make it safer on that road, and especially for the school buses, because it's a continuous, when they start hauling, like it's not every day, okay, but when they do a change in their product, that stuff goes out there and it sits, and then they load and haul, and that could be for 3, 4, 5 days, okay, and then it might sit for a week. But in those days, it's continuous, like 8-10 hour traffic going back and forth, and the dust is unbelievable. Everybody that lives in the country understands that we're going to get the odd load going by, you know, and more so at harvest time and at seeding time, right? But not all day. And that's why I was looking at to see if we could lower that speed limit just for those, anything over 2 axles.
Okay, I got Ernest. Before Ernest goes here, I just want to let you know, we are talking with Alberta Environmental, so there is some things that possibly are going to change, so to make them do that road that distance might not be quite efficient for what it's all in the works. It's all up in the air right now, so we need another month or so before we can figure out what's going to take place with that. So just to give you an insight on Ernest and then Shane.
As I understand, they use what they call an independent contractor for doing the disposing of their waste. So as Big Marble themselves, I'm kind of amazed that they, the deal was they were, our recommendations or approval on their permit was to go to the landfill.
No,
Well,
per Alberta environments required.
no, an
Requirements.
Alberta requirement.
Sunshine was to go to the landfill.
Okay,
They agreed
wrong.
with it. Big Marble ended up getting changed to what the Alberta environment regulations were.
Yeah, okay, wrong greenhouse, but somewhere this has got to stop somehow. Somebody's got to do something because you can't just, this has become a major business. This is not just some guy cleaned out his feedlot.
Shane?
Okay, in the past, when company I worked for, when we had a concentrated truck haul, we had to sign a haul road agreement. The haul road agreement was you took care of the dust. Either we calciumed it or we watered it, but you had to control the dust. So it'd be no different with Big Marble. We can give them the option on the days they're hauling, have a water truck out there and keep the dust down, or you go and calcium it or MG30, whatever you choose. But if you got a concentrated truck haul, you have to control the dust, plain and simple. And we had a haul road agreement with the counties that we were in, and that's what we did. It'd be in the haul road agreement, yeah.
You got to use your mic.
Sorry. Yeah. I was just saying that within that agreement, if you have the ability to have reduced hours, so you're not doing it during school bus driving, and then you're either using the water or calcium. Yeah, I agree completely.
Darcy? Oh, sorry. Are you done?
If you're gonna reduce the speed limit, you gotta do it for everybody. Well, you're gonna have people running into each other then. You can't have tandem trucks driving 40 and everybody else doing 80. If it's that dusty, they're obviously gonna run into each other.
Yeah. Richard?
This wasn't just my idea that I pulled out of the air when I was helping a relative in Saskatchewan. That was the rules on their road, was that anything over 2 axles, that it was a reduced speed limit, but the half tons and the cars still kept at the same rate, and you just hang on the sign. And there was lots of traffic because we were all harvesting at the same time, Darcy. But I mean, you can lower it for everybody, but I'm going to make sure it's call forwarding to you.
Shane?
See, with the haul road agreement, if they're controlling the dust, then you don't have to worry about the speed. With Robin, with you talking about, the hours and that school bus hours, if it's the dust is being taken care of, it doesn't matter then, because we hauled, the school buses were running and up, and we had to maintain the dust control. And it is what happened, and it happened south of Raymond, and Alberta Transportation got in big trouble. There was a serious accident on one of their hauls where a person did get killed. Then there was the lawsuits and everything else because of the dust created from their job site. So it does become a liability on the people doing the truck haul too, that are in charge of it, the owner. And with that, when we talk, Ernest, about independent, they were all independent truck hauls, but working for the government. So it's who's ever
Whoever's contracting it.
the prime contractor. So I think if we just do truck haul agreement, road agreement, and that they have to control the dust on when they're hauling.
Hold on, Richard, I got one question. Did we not have in the permit for that, road use agreement that was supposed to be signed on that?
Through the chair, the road use agreement was for a designated area, which is what we're talking about is outside of that.
Okay,
So it's 100, I think it went from 100 meters to the west of that intersection. So it was tied to the highway, number 3 highway
oops.
and the development permit.
Go ahead, Richard.
Shane, I like your idea, but I need, somebody would have to explain how you're going to even impose that rule. Like they haven't come in for development permits. They don't need anything else anymore. So, and they're not wrecking the road. It's just strictly a dust problem, right? So I guess, how do you impose, how do you do that?
Shane and then Kim.
It was, do you want to explain it first?
Thank you through the chair. I think it was 2 meetings ago, we did a road protection bylaw, which has a specification in there for concentrated hauls. So anytime, I believe it was over 6 or 8 heavy hauls a day, they required a road use agreement. So we actually have a meeting scheduled with them to talk about the parameters of the road use agreement that was defined in the development permit. And so this conversation could be bridged into a further conversation with the concerns of their area residents, because they've actually been very open and saying and looking for solutions too, because they've been hearing it too. So
when's your meeting
this week.
this week? So do you want to hold off till next meeting and see what comes out of that meeting?
Oh, for sure. I had no idea. I guess I wasn't keeping up with what's going on with them, but yeah, I like that. And like Shane said, that's a good idea. Not sure how you're going to handle that in the winter time, but there's some things you come back and give me some more stuff.
In the wintertime, we won't have the dust
Yeah.
issue as much, but we would still have the deterioration of the road. But I think we're looking at doing on that one intersection, which was part of that MG30 program, that will help stabilize the intersection. That's where we get really bad washboarding on the 122 and the 71 from the acceleration, deceleration. So I think that would really solve some of that problems going forward.
Okay, Shane.
Also, when we signed them agreements and that the road had to be kept in a safe condition. So I mean, any washouts, blowouts, we had to fix. I mean, there were some roads where we had to go in and do a full subgrade prep. We went down a meter and redid the road and that because we blew it out. But that was under our agreement that we had to maintain it in a safe condition.
Jeffrey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's my understanding that when the county meets with the greenhouse operator to discuss the road use agreement, that all of the roads that are incorporated as part of their operation in terms of whatever roads they need to utilize will be discussed as part of the road use agreement and will be factored in.
Okay, thank you. So Richard, do you want to change your motion to postpone till next meeting?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is great conversation. So yeah.
Any other questions or comments right now? We'll leave it in Kim's capable hands. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, I just wanted to, through the chair, I just wanted to put in that they have been very eager to sign that road use agreement. We just haven't had that. We were waiting to see how the MG worked and to see the actual cost, but they've been very eager to sign that. I just wanted to put that out there. So they've been very prompt. So it's more on us to see how the cost worked out, to see it, to enclose into the road use agreement. But
Perfect. Thank you. Not seeing any more. Oh, Ernest.
So if the road use agreement was like with we use the MG30, would your agreement include that, okay, now if we move over 2 roads, like how big an area would it encompass so they don't move over 2 roads to some other road and
All
we're
of-
back to square one? Or
All roads, they have to be identified in the agreement. So they have to stay on that. If they leave those roads, you have to enter into a different agreement.
Yeah.
So that's what they're subject, the road's subject to the agreement. So they need to stay on that.
so in other words, in this agreement, these are designated roads they haul on if they can't go other places. Because I could just see sort of, oh, well, this is not going good. We'll move over 4 miles and the problem just moves.
And with the road use agreement, they have skin in the game because they've agreed and they're part of the solution. So they're gonna stay on those roads.
Any other question? Not seen any? Vote. Carried. 10.4, Tarlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Private drive maintenance. Sorry. Private drive maintenance. So there's some background information there in regards to this request. Councillor Moody has requested that this item be placed on the agenda. In 2018, a development permit was issued for the construction of a residence on the existing foundation. Within the development permit records, it was noted as part of the development application. It is a private access and is not maintained by the county. Additionally, we did some further research, and back in the late 90s, there was several private drives that council deemed not to maintain anymore, and this was one of them. And so there is, when you pull the title through the northwest, there is no road allowance through there at all. So yeah, so this is for your consideration, and our recommended motion is that you receive his information or direct us accordingly.
Ernest.
Okay, that I was well, I just so in case everybody's wondering why I'm bringing forth something from that area. I've known Stephanie for years. Our kids play ball together, so on and so forth, and she just mentioned it to me. So I thought this was a good place to discuss it. That anyway, the actual road allowance, as you can see by the picture, is unusable. So then this road would have been built for, I don't know, could have been built by the county, could have been, we don't know who built it. I guess the biggest concern is she can't get maintenance from anybody, you know, like to grade the road. It's not a bad road. It's about 24 feet high. And that's the road. So, I mean, 24 feet wide. If it was 24 feet high, you would never have to.
I was trying to figure out where in
I realized that.
Schuler area that would be. Richard?
For maintenance on a private driveway, you just hire the county and sign an agreement, whatever that maintenance on driveways. I think Robin uses it to plow snow in the wintertime or do the road once in a while, but I know other people do. So that's all you would do is just sign the agreement, get an agreement signed with the county. And I think racers do it too, probably a whole bunch more. And they come in and grade your road. It's $180 an hour, is it?
Yeah, and I think we have, and this is just a guesstimate, I think we probably have over 30 agreements signed from snow plowing to mowing to blading private drives.
Michelle?
I'm pretty sure she called me probably about a year ago asking the same question, who does her driveways? And at the time, I didn't realize that it wasn't on a road allowance. So I had suggested the road allowance program to her and to phone the county office that you guys should be able to help her out. And I never heard anything else about it until yesterday. And my issue with this is that we have a lot of private roads, or at least in my area. I know of one in particular. I was asking Kim about it this morning, and it's off of the Bow Mountain, and it's like got to be at least 10 miles from the county road to where they live. And as far as I know, I've known this man my whole life, and he's always, they have the equipment to take care of their own road, right? And if they can't, then they phone the county. So I can't see putting it up to a high grade gravel road to one place. Like, it doesn't even go anywhere. It goes, this road just ends at their yard. So off of a county road. So that's my thoughts.
Just,
Steve?
Just really quickly on the cost of it, it's $100 per hour for blading or plowing a residence in the driveways only, minimum charge of 50, so it's 100 an hour.
No,
Look at us. And then we're worried about the land.
don't start. You're being so good at being quiet there. Keep that up. No, it does well. We just did the master rates. We should have changed that too, I guess.
We should have it before the matter.
Ernest?
well, anyway, I mean, we've had other roads that the county built and were never registered. I can't say that this is one, but, you know, I just thought it should be aired. Let's settle it. You know, if we think it's a private road, everybody kind of wants to go that way. At least that we would contract, they'd be able to do a contract with us to provide maintenance. And it'd be silly, the road, it's a fine, reasonably good road looking at the pitch. I mean, it hasn't been graded for a couple of years and it's only got a couple potholes in it. And I don't know how they got out last year. They lived there for a year or two, so it can't be too bad a snow road. So, I mean, if that's the will of council, but you know, we do a contract, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, they have an option to come in and set up that contract so they can have service. Michelle?
My concern is that, you know, if we were to go and fix this particular road, how many more roads in the county do we have like this that then everybody would be in here? Well, we want our road fixed too. I don't think we can afford that. I'm pretty sure it would be the landowner's responsibility.
Okay, so Ernest started it. You're receiving for information, just brought it forward.
I think we should do something, I guess, at least to notice that they can come for contract or something, or do we need to do that?
Administration, Mr. Chairman, can contact them and send the information to them to fill out.
Okay, so instead of receiving for information, you want it for administration to send out the information?
Right.
What the
For a road use
private
contract.
drive.
Yeah, because I think that would be proactive rather than doing nothing.
That's your motion then?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on it? Vote. That's carried. Robin? You're good? 10.5, Carolyn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Grant approval for the library. So there's some background information and the recommended motion that council direct administration to apply for the Green and Inclusive Community Building Grant for the construction of the urban library. And Mr. Chairman, so by that part of the application process is that we need to have a motion of council endorsing it.
Darcy. Michelle is making that motion. Any questions or comments? Vote. Oh, go ahead.
This through the chair to the CEO. How much, like this grant, is it a 50-50, 70-30,
So for new,
20-80?
yeah, so for new build, it's 50-50 for that. And if you're retroing it, it depends on other things, but it's what's one criteria is 60% of your retroing or 80% for another category. But because this is a new build, however, we're going to slant the grant application that we can't retro what's there. There's no possibility. So kind of, please consider us for more percentage, because there's absolutely no way that that building can be retroed. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Vote. Carried. We'll do 11.1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you is a letter of consideration from Dandelion Renewables. There is background information here and the letter that was submitted. So this is their request to enter in a partnership with Cypress County to do solar with the urban arena. The recommended motion from administration is that council does not partner with Dandelion Renewables on their proposal for the solar project at this time.
Ernest is moving that. Any questions or comments? Not, oh, Michelle.
Why is my question. Shouldn't we partner with them?
So where they've proposed is where that proposed indoor riding arena is. So there's that. Also too, they are asking for us to do their business plan for them. And there's other partners that we could partner with. So not at this time is something that we're recommending. It's not that never, that's it, but just at this time.
Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any. Vote. Carried. All right, we'll take a 5-minute All right. Oh, smart ass, eh? Yeah. Like it matters. I'm the only one that buys beer anyhow. Freak. All right, Rebecca, since these guys are done clowning around now.
That's always nice to have that little bit of that. Yes. So I'm it today. Staff Sergeant Maxwell's off and the acting NCO is ended up being busy today. So he did have his report done. And so I don't know. He added a whole bunch of papers there. I wasn't sure if that's what Sean usually presents or not. Okay, good. Good. Okay. So basically, a quick 2-minute talk from the acting NCO this morning is everything's kind of just down in the January to April quarter. A lot of it is due to COVID, like really. Person crimes is up, and again, that's related to COVID. Pretty much everything else is down. Thefts of vehicles, break and enters, kind of everything is down, and I believe that's just mostly because lots of people are home and watching out for everything, and of course the alert team. I thank them a lot. They're on our chronic property crime guys. Sergeant Lowell, I think you guys have met him. Has he been out here? The alert, the sergeant out there. They have a team out of Medicine Hat who specifically watches the property crime, and they do a lot of undercover work and stuff. So they're out there a lot, and they're on them like, you know, white on rice. Like they're out there, and as soon as they're out, they're following them and putting them back in, and so that team helps a lot. Let's see here. Respond to 663 calls for service within the Cypress County. Of those 633 calls, 100 were violation tickets issued. There were additional 509 calls for service within the town of Red Cliff. We have 2 NCOs off duty sick. In addition to this, 2 members will be on pat leave this summer. COVID continues to present us with many challenges, but we continue working through them. Visibility and traffic enforcement, of course, always remains high on our priority list. Partnerships remain with the property crime unit, which I was just talking to you about. And they don't specifically necessarily stick to, even though they're based out of Medicine Hat, to the Cypress County Medicine Hat area, they do venture out a little bit with Brooks and Bow Island, and because they're all intertwined. So they looked forward to the positive first quarter, and we'll continue to work hard in meeting our stakeholders' needs, wants, and expectations. That's Sergeant Neil Bailey, who is only going to be here another couple weeks, and he's transferred to Lac La Biche. So in that time, I think Sean, Staff Sergeant Maxwell will be back. So hopefully everything's back to normal. So it's been a little bit of seat changing going on just to keep everything under control, but everything is good. So I don't know if you guys have any questions that I could answer for the Staff Sergeant part of it. Well, you know, yeah, well, shoot, go ahead. I'd like to take a shot at that, but I mean, everything's been good. So we definitely have enough coverage to keep everything. No position's been short or unfilled, so been lucky that way.
Thank you through the chair. I just wanted to comment and see if you can bring some insight for the rest of council on the participation with the construction project on 120 and the increased presence by not only by the RCMP, but by the sheriffs, and that was all coordinated through yourself. So I think that was something that was identified as a hazard, you know, that road during construction, and If you wouldn't mind describing on the presence that you guys have been doing there.
Well, we knew it was coming, so I basically just sent an email to the traffic department and the sheriff's department, and just let them know that the construction will be going on for a couple of months. Myself and Peace Officer Mass attended a safety meeting with the construction crew a bit ago, 2 weeks ago maybe, and just discussed some concerns they had and what they could do, and you know, how we can help them. And then we gave them some suggestions also on things. So that was good. They said that it's frustrating for them because people go whizzing by them or take the ditch, and you know, it's sad to say, but I know they're feeling. There's been many times I've been on the highway where, you know, the mirrors go whizzing by, and trying to just deal with what we're doing. But you know, so we gave them just some ideas on how to report that, when they can report it, and what they would need to do for that, and just some suggestions about, because it was, you know, 50-80, 50-80, 50-80. It was very confusing, and some of the signs didn't end so I just thought it would be best to make it the next 19 kilometers or 13 kilometers, whatever it is. And I mean, we all understand that sometimes there's that kilometer or two in between the real construction, but it's really not that bad. I've been on the highway pretty much every time, where sometimes there's 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers and nothing. So it seems to be going well. So the sheriffs and sent out another email regarding that, that was going to be in effect. And as soon as they had the signs with the wide loads on each end, no wide loads, and that the speed would be the next so many kilometers in the construction zone all the same, I sent out another email, and I think that it's been well received by the sheriffs, and pretty much the traffic guys and the general duty detachment members are putting, I believe, a lot of extra time on the 120 actually. So
It was commented by the contractor on how much they appreciated that. That's why I wanted to bring that up to council's attention, because not only suggestions that you guys made, but by the presence and how the flaggers, because I've talked to a couple of the flaggers on how they feel, how the safety has heightened with your presence there.
yeah, no, that's really good to hear, because I mean, I try to go on it at least twice daily now, and not very often there's somebody over 60 or 70, which is already slowed down below the 80. So it's been pretty good. So
Shane?
it's good.
Boy, did I like to hear that. That you dropped, we allowed them to drop it 50 for the whole thing. Because dealing with Alberta Transportation and other projects, they wouldn't allow us. So that was the confusing part. 50, 80, then you'd come upon an intersection treatment would be 50, go 2 kilometers, up to 80, then back to 50.
Yeah.
By doing that, it's consistent. And yeah, the safety of them flaggers and people out there, everybody knows then it's a 50 zone from one end to the other. And
Yeah.
that is
Simple,
super.
simple for everybody to read and simple for us to enforce.
Yep. We had concerns. We were going to do what AT does, but then with the conversation with Anna and Rebecca, it became very apparent that that's what they needed to keep the safety of and heighten the safety. So, and we've had nothing but compliments about it since. So, well, I shouldn't say nothing but compliments. We've had a few non-compliments, but
You'll get them all the time. But
Yeah.
for the safety of them workers out there, doing it for 26 years out on that highway, I can understand. And
Yeah.
that super. Hats off to you guys.
Yeah, good. Thanks. That's good to hear. I'll
Ernest?
pass that on to the sheriffs and the rest of the guys also.
Okay.
Um,
I got a couple of questions. Ernest?
That, you know, I have a great admiration for flaggers, because I've worked emergency scenes, and I think the best way to flag is park a fire truck crossways on the highway that's half safe and stand behind it, because there's people come flying in there. It's just unreal, and you feel pretty vulnerable when you got this little sign and you're standing and you see somebody coming about 70 miles an hour.
mhm.
It's
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
so I have a great appreciation for people that work on that construction crews and stuff daily.
And it's hard for them. I mean, generally when we're on the highway, we're busy. We don't even realize it sometimes until it comes, within this far to your head, but they can see it coming, and there's not much they can do except try to get it out of the way.
Topic a little, my son worked on the number QE2 as a flagger. He threw his sign through a guy's windshield and then drove through in a Spear Lake and dove in the.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Richard?
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of the construction workers out there and they were very pleased because even 50 kilometers an hour when somebody goes by is still fairly fast and it does create that draft. But yeah, at least they got a chance to jump out of the way if somebody's not paying attention. So,
yeah.
And great job on the enforcement. That's the key area. So,
yeah. No, everybody
We like what
really
you're doing.
was receptive to it. So, it's been good. That's any more for that
No,
part of
I
it?
don't see any more.
My report. Well, I mean, like I really do try when I am off onto the, where there's more traffic and stuff. If a violation is there, I generally try to deal with that. However, January and February, the traffic has been really slow. You can talk to traffic members and the sheriff guys. I guess there's just not as many people on the highways and the roads, which is good. So that part of the violation tickets and stuff is down, but lots more time on the roads for myself. Able to get back into some of those roads that nobody ever sees you on. So that's always nice. Roads are open and there's no more snow and no more mud. They're all dry. So back at getting into some weird places where people would never suspect to see a police truck. And not much really going on either community-wise. I worked on a slideshow presentation regarding 3 important topics to novice drivers, or I'm going to say high school drivers: distracted driving, speeding, and impaired driving. Usually that's presented at a party program, it's called, at the hospital by different speakers. Obviously that wasn't happening, so I created a Zoom slide presentation show type thing. So that's good. We just started that. We did a project run with a couple of schools, and then all of a sudden all the schools shut down, and the plan was the next ones were 7 Persons, Jenner and Schuler, and Warren Piers, which is in Arcadia Valley. So it reaches out to more people. Next plan Zooms in June and with Urban School. So they're hoping that they can actually get the rest of those county schools on that Zoom meeting also. So the first one went really well. I ran out of time, of course. Got to shorten it. Report of, so yeah, not much going on community-wise. So I just added a few little things that I dealt with other than the norm of helping the detachment and suspicious vehicles and abandoned vehicles and all that. But report of a severed cow head in the ditch. Didn't take long working with the local brand inspector. It was determined to be, it wasn't too suspicious. Not sure where I suspect it rolled off of, it was just rolled off the back of somebody's trailer or something. There just was nothing suspicious about it really. All the tags were there, everything was there. Usually if it's suspicious at all, that will all be cut out and stuff. I do know County 40 Mile has had a couple weird ones. There's some heads and stuff found in bags, but they're working on that. Assisted with a wide load down the 120 before the construction started. A few garbage being dumped in the county investigations where some plates were actually had and stuff. So that's always good. Usually we just find the garbage and let you guys know. Traffic enforcement teamed up with Officer Trevor Johnson again from Alberta Fish and Wildlife, and this time we patrolled the base during the elk hunt. It's my first time on the base, so that was interesting to see some of those buildings and stuff back there. Let's see. Did livestock complaint with Peace Officer Mass SPCA, where the vet had to attend and get some compliance for that person. All worked out well, but it was quite a few meetings out there. Three-way stop here at the intersection at Eagle Butte and 3rd near the co-op. I think I talked about this last time, but when it first was put up there, we did a couple days where we educated, and there was 130 warnings approximately. So if those were actual stop sign violation tickets were written.
It just says, taxes and assessment, press 1. It just right away gives the introductory menu.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if you want to or not.
I can certainly look into it.
Oh, whatever you want.
So yeah, $405 a ticket for a stop sign could have been, $50,000.
I'm muted.
That's happening. Yeah, so I mean, school zones. I've been trying to. What's happening? Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, nothing too spectacular in the last few months, but I do have. I've seen Leslie Ann. She mentioned something about a sign being put up at the detachment there for a safe exchange zone, whether that means for Kijiji purchases or online purchases, child exchanges and stuff. And I've seen it before. I was just trying to think of somewhere, county related, obviously, but the safest place is the detachment. So I was actually on it before she had mentioned it. So that sign's on order, and we'll just put it up at the detachment and maybe just throw it out there on the media that that safe exchange zone is there, and it's just somewhere where people can feel maybe a bit safe if they're purchasing something or exchanging kids. So that's yeah, parent exchange. Yeah, so right. Yeah, I don't know, any questions for me? It's I've been trying to, unfortunately been trying to stay out of the schools and stuff. Just back to COVID. I think that's hopefully that turn around soon, but just
Hope
trying to yeah.
Any questions? Yeah, you're doing a good job. We weren't expecting a big presentation today. We know everything's slow out there.
Yeah, it's hard, even I like to, not often, but I'll stop and talk to, stop in and yards or whatever and just make sure everything's good, and people that I know, and I just haven't been, because I don't want to be that person that brings in something, but I can't wait till everything's back to normal for sure.
Anybody have any questions? Not seeing any. Thank you very much for your presentation today. We've got a little time. I believe you can stay for lunch. It's just we're going to be half an hour here. We're going to go in camera, so it's up to you. We would like to have you for lunch. Stay for lunch, not have you for lunch. But that corner down there is still see, every time I go by there, I see at least one person running that stop sign. So. It is, I seen one yesterday that was side by side where you can go straight through or turn right and the other one turns left and they both turn left. So I was like, look at the sign in front of you. It doesn't say that. STOP. Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate it. Yep. Have a good day.
You see a little red squirting, so don't give it a warning.
Okay, can I get somebody to make a motion to go in camera? Darcy? I gotta make these 4 motions. Yeah. Okay, so 12.1, we need the motion number 1 is what we agreed on. I need somebody to make that motion. Darcy. Vote. It's carried. 12.2. Boy, it was quieter when you weren't here. Receive for information on 12.2. Shane's making that. Vote. Carried. 12.3. Urban sale, go ahead with the deal is what we had said. Is there anything else? Just go ahead with the deal. That's all you need for the motion. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Michelle's made that. Vote. Carried. 12.4, CNLR. Terlin made that motion. I don't remember what it was, but it was a good one. Yeah. Vote. Carried. Oh, Darcy. Terlin made the motion. She is now. Richard's made that motion. Yeah, that's your birthday present. Okay, 12.5. There's 2 motions and Shane will not be voting on them. Can you repeat the first motion, Les? It's to put in the bids for up to 372 acre feet.
As
Oh,
disclosed and
as disclosed.
as discussed in closed session.
Okay. So that's motion number 1. Elf's making that. Vote. Second motion. What did you want that saying, Robin? Okay. Everybody knows what it is. Vote. Okay, carried. All right. That is it. We are done.